It's Mike with It's Pittsfield Tonight. It is Thursday, May 28th, and I'm going to jump right into it. This is going to be a video pretty much specific to one thing, and that is last night, Wednesday, May 27th's Pittsfield School Committee meeting. So this is one that I've been talking about a lot of people have been talking about, and it is basically what I'm going to talk about is centered around over a year ago, the allegations that came forward and the scandal that broke loose based out of Pittsfield High School. We had a lot being discussed there. At the same time, some of these allegations came out. The FBI was involved with a dean of students at PHS that was arrested for allegedly selling drugs. So we haven't heard the end of that. But there were several other allegations. So we don't really need to go into depth with that. Many of you, if you've been following this page and you've been following the local news, this is something we've been talking about for well over a year. So last year's election for the Pittsfield School Committee, one of the biggest topics was the incident that took place at PHS. Parents looking for transparency, an understanding of what was happening and what happened, why it happened, and how to assure them that something like that wouldn't happen again. Something, I guess, like the allegations, because we don't know what happened, and this is where it's confusing. And it's immensely confusing. But anyway, so that was basically the driving force between pushing last year's school committee election season. And the candidates that won those races, we basically elected a whole new school committee, with the exception of school committee member Dan Elias, who has been there for I don't know how long, since I was just a wee lad. But he's been there a long time. So last night, now, if you've been following these meetings, okay, Sierra Battori, who is one of the new elected this is her first term as a Pittsfield School Committee member, back in January, I believe, put a petition forward asking to release a redacted version of the Pittsfield High School report. Now, that report is based on when all these allegations happened, the previous school committee made the decision to hire a law firm at the expense of $150,000 to $160,000, somewhere in that range, to do a thorough investigation as to what happened, where these allegations were coming from, and all that. So that took place. A report was submitted back to the school committee in the city. And since then, you've had people saying, release the report. What happened? Release the report. Because if you remember when this went down, it was front page news for week after week. It was all over social media. It was on local news stations. It was, like I said, front page in the local paper. And when you start talking about things that involve the vulnerable, children, animals, the elderly, people go in an uproar. And when you're talking about children in the public schools, of course people would go in an uproar. They were like, wait a minute, what's going on? What is happening? So that is why it took center stage. So that report comes back. This law firm conducts their investigation, submits a report back to the school committee and to the city. And since then, the school committee has been continually saying, sorry, we can't release it. We can't tell you what happened. We can't release it. Now, a summarized version of that report was posted, I believe, on the city website, and it disappeared. Well, when that was brought up at last night's school committee meeting, I forget her name, one of the administrators, along with the superintendent, said that one of the unions threatened or asked or threatened to file a lawsuit if that summary didn't come down. So anyway, it was that much of it was being discussed. So let's jump up to in January of this year. Sierra Batory filed a petition for a motion to release a redacted version of the investigation of that report that was submitted by this law firm. The school committee voted on it, and it passed. Fast forward a few more months after that, and then there was confusion. And it was a little confusing, the end of it, how it was worded. I didn't quite get that myself. It was just what was talked about was to release a redacted version of the report, but then there was an added piece at the end of that to allow the school committee members to review it, to add any motions that they might have. That part was a little confusing. But they voted to release a redacted version of the PHS investigation report. So at last night's school committee meeting, after the previous few, where it became very heated between committee member Sierra Batory and specifically the chair of the school committee, which is Mayor Marchetti. And nonetheless, the council decided to vote to rescind, the committee decided to vote last night to rescind their vote that they initially did to release the report. So they rescinded that vote. Then school committee member Sarah Mule, which this is what confused me, made a motion to release the report, to release the guidelines that were followed on how the investigation was done and how they were applied to the 5 sections of that report. Now, I know about as much as the rest of you, so I'm assuming maybe those 5 sections that they're talking about are 5 individuals that were implicated into something. But she put a detailed motion together, and it was discussed. It got to, everyone got to speak about it, those who chose to. School committee member Dan Elias spoke up and said, now this was very odd to me because this was something I did not know, and I'm not like the rest of you. I don't know who he's talking about, but he said he was against, because he was originally the one vote that was against releasing the report when it did pass, when that vote passed. He talked about how rescinding a vote is a common thing and often done. You go home and think about it and change your mind, and you come back and decide that you want to undo your vote. But one of the things he said that was like a what moment for me is he said one of the individuals implicated in this report or in these allegations has been being looked into for decades. And I went, what? That made my head spin. I said, wait a minute. Somebody was accused of something that has been being accused of something or being looked into for something for decades? Is that not concerning? What does that mean? That was very confusing to me. He said it in a way like that this person was being unfairly treated. But nonetheless, so they rescinded their vote. Then Sarah Mule puts that motion forward, which took some considerable time. We're going to do this. We're going to release 5 sections of the report. We're going to have the explanation of the steps and the procedure that was followed that did the investigation. And then they took a vote on it to another vote to re-release to release the report with those added things. Sierra Battori voted in favor, yes, to release it. Carolyn Berry voted in favor, yes, to release it. Sarah Mule voted no against her own motion. That was really confusing to me. Heather McNeese voted no against releasing it. Dan Elias voted no against releasing it. And Peter Marchetti, Mayor Marchetti, voted no against releasing it. And that's it. So the report is not going to be released. It was so confusing because here's where, like a lot of you, and I can't tell you the messages I got on this today. That's why I'm doing this video right now. I received so many messages about this, and some of them, people saying, I'm pulling my kids out of school. That's it. I'm not putting them back in Pittsfield Public Schools. There's people upset because this is the part of it that I don't understand. So all this stuff came out, was headline news, was on news networks, was everywhere. And now we're being told the report can't be released. Secretary of State's office said we'll be sued, that teachers' unions have threatened to sue. Individuals that were mentioned, I guess, in this report have threatened to sue. But we can't even find out. So what happened? What were the allegations? Are you saying they were made up? And who made them up? Did they come from an adult? Did they come from a student? Did they come from multiple students? Did they come from multiple adults? Can you give some kind of reason that without mentioning any specifics and just say, look, someone had a grudge against someone for personal reasons and decided to try to defame their character? Or I don't know. I mean, it's so confusing that not even the basics of what happened. Are they implying that the people who filed or complained or put these complaints forward, that they made them up? Is that what I don't understand any of it, because the allegations were enough where it took over the news cycle for months. You know, it's like one of those situations. It reminds me of like when my father used to say to me all the time, all the things he'd hear about nursing homes. And he'd say, Michael, whatever you do, make sure I don't end up in a nursing home. Put a pillow over my face first. He used to say that to me, and I'd go, okay, Dad. But the fear, he did not want to go into a nursing home, was terrified based off of things he heard. You know, it's kind of similar to that in the sense that people have heard all this floating around enough where it's made headlines and it's been a huge discussion, and they just keep saying, the powers that be keep saying, well, we can't release it. You can't know what happened. We can't tell you anything. We can't mention any names. We'll be sued. We can't tell you anything. That's it. So nothing to see. Sorry, we got you all upset, but that's it. Don't worry about it. Nothing was substantiated. And that's so confusing. It really is. I remember one of the former students speaking at one of the school committee meetings about a year ago when this was, at the front of everything when it first broke. And he talked about his experience in the schools. And he said one of the happiest days of his life was when COVID hit and he found out he didn't have to go back. And, so are we saying that students made this stuff up? Are we saying that parents made this stuff up? What is happening here? Because then what's to stop that from happening again? How will anybody know what anything is? Is that what we're saying? I don't know what any of it is other than, like all of you, this was huge news, and then they voted finally to release a redacted version of the report, and they rescinded that vote last night, and there is no report coming out. And if those of you who saw the video I did the day before talking about the upcoming meeting, just yesterday, I think I put that out. I knew this wasn't coming out, but I thought something could be explained to the public, something more in detail to assure them, trust me, your kids are safe. And this is why. There's nothing to worry about. We're moving forward on positive issues. But how do you move forward to positive issues when you take something so serious and just go, nah, nothing to see. Don't worry about it. It's all taken care of. That's, it is what it is. So I'm going to just leave this video at that. I hope something more comes out of this, but unfortunately, I don't think it will. I think other than Sierra Battori and Carolyn Wade Barry voting in favor of it, the other school committee members voted against it. Some of the reasoning that was given, that some of the teachers' unions or some of the unions and individuals implicated or mentioned in this report or something like that, they also threatened to sue. They're saying the Secretary of State's office told them if you release it, you're going to get sued, and that's it. So, but there's no specifics, no details, no nothing of what actually happened, what the allegations were, if they were false, why they were false. Was it from students? Was it from parents? Was it from outside sources? Was it just made up? None of it. There's zero explanation of anything of what happened. And that is where the public is so upset. So I have seen all your messages, believe me. I've seen and read all of them. Keep them coming. I'll keep reading them because some of them I'm getting information out of that I didn't know. So I appreciate a lot of the messages. So that's it for now. A bunch of stuff coming up. This is just a special video I wanted to put out because of the amount of messages and people contacting me about it. So there'll probably be another video coming out tomorrow and the day after that. I've got a bunch of stuff coming up with a special presentation I did with the district attorney. And a whole bunch of stuff. But anyway, that's it for now. Pay attention, get involved, watch those committee meetings, watch those city council meetings. We'll be talking about water and sewer rate increases that I've been telling all of y'all that they were coming. So here they are, and they'll be coming every year. There's no doubt about it. But anyway, they'll be going up next year, and they'll be going up the year after that and the year after that. But we'll talk about all that in the next morning video coming up either tomorrow or the day after. So take care of yourselves, take care of each other, get involved, pay attention, and I'll catch you all in the next day or two.